Uh, hey, welcome to part 2. Um, I have the TV on in the background. Hold on, let me fix that 1 second. Welcome to part 2. Okay, so, in November 2011, Will Toledo released this little itty-bitty album. Didn't have a lot of impact. You might have heard of it. It was called, The thing with Twin Fantasy, as you know, this is an issue with a lot of very popular, critically acclaimed albums. I don't know what to say about it that hasn't already been said. I love this album. I would give my life for this album. That's probably not true. I probably would not do that. I would not give my life for any album, probably. Anyways, my point is, Twin Fantasy Mirror to Mirror is brilliant. It's a brilliant album, as is Face to Face, but we'll get to that later. And this is really the first Car Seat Headrest album where it really feels like Will is finally starting to, not just make cohesive songs, but also really make super duper, tight albums. And this is something that he'll do for, the next, at least 4 years. He just is so good at this point. Suddenly, all of a sudden, at making incredibly tight albums. That's, one of the only problems I have with My Back Is Killing Me, Baby. It's not a super tight-knit experience. Twin Fantasy absolutely is. It's only 10 tracks. It is, all of the tracks are woven together. It's a concept album, which is a great way to have, your album sort of, be woven together, as long as the concept is good. And the concept for Twin Fantasy is great, because it's not even that much of a concept album. It's just an album that is about a relationship that Will had. That's what the album is. So what gives? What makes Twin Fantasy so good if it's just about some random relationship? I'll tell you what, it's the best album ever made. The amount of memorable one-liners on this album are insane. There's one on, literally every single song. Even Stop Smoking, which is just, very few words. It is so well written. Every single song is incredibly well written, incredibly emotionally rich, incredibly just sonically rich too. Even on Mirror to Mirror, which is a much more lo-fi record than Face to Face, obviously, there's still it's still so sonically deep. There's so much to unpack, even though it's a lot thinner feeling than, the Matador Car Seat Headrest records. Maybe not thinner. Maybe thinner, but not in a bad way at all. I prefer Mirror to Face to Face, which is probably going to anger some people. That's how I feel. It's pretty close, honestly. I used to think, Mirror to Mirror is way better. And I also used to think Face to Face was way better. But now I realize the gap is just not that wide between either of them. But I do prefer Mirror to Mirror. This is, if I'm getting someone into Car Seat Headrest, I say, okay, would you rather have some nice clean indie rock with the slightest lo-fi tinge, or would you rather have just music that sounds like it was recorded on a toaster? And if they if they say the former option, I give them Face to Face, and if they say the latter option, I give them Mirror to Mirror. And it's so nice, because from there you can just tell them where to go. Because if they like Mirror to Mirror, then you can start checking out that side of the discography. And if you like Face to Face, you can start checking out that side of the discography. It's great. It's literally two of the same album, and but it's sonically different. So you can get people into different sides of the Car Seat discography. And you can venture onward. Anyway, yeah. Beyond that, the songs are just amazing. Every single song is amazing. I'm rambling at this point. None of what I'm saying matters right now. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 completely. Next. Monomania is, at least equally amazing. Which, I know a lot of people will not agree with that. But a lot of people will, because to an extent, Monomania is kind of a fan favorite in the Car Seat Headrest discography. At least, on on the side that I'm on the side of the fan base that I'm on, I guess. What does that even mean? The thing that people don't like about this album is it is uncomfortably personal. As I think Will put it this way himself. We'll see if I can find the quote, and if not, then I don't know who said it. But as someone said, and I think Will said, Twin Fantasy is the relationship album, and Monomania is the breakup album. Twin Fantasy and Monomania don't have to be connected. You can enjoy each independently. The thing people don't like about Monomania is it is toxic. That's what people say. It is a toxic album. Will gets very angry on this album, which he doesn't do very much on Twin Fantasy. On Twin Fantasy, he's mostly just either in love or really sad. On Monomania, he's either really angry or really sad, which is different. The thing is, I don't know why it upsets people that Will is angry on this album. It doesn't really make that much sense, because really he is exposing himself emotionally in the same way he did on Twin Fantasy, just it's a different emotion. If Monomania makes you uncomfortable, then I feel like Twin Fantasy should also make you uncomfortable. I'm fine, like, it would make sense to me if you were just like, oh, Monomania makes me uncomfortable to listen to. That's okay. But if you turn around and say Twin Fantasy doesn't make you uncomfortable to listen to, I don't really understand that. And like I said, they're about different emotions, but like, a lot of the songs, well, not a lot of the songs, but some of the songs on Twin Fantasy are also kind of weird, kind of toxic. There's some weird lyrics in there. And I guess Monomania does have more of that, for sure, than Twin Fantasy does. But that doesn't make it not brilliant. Don't, like, cancel me for saying this, but I think it makes it more brilliant. I'm gonna make the most virgin comparison possible, but it's kind of like Pinkerton. See, hear me out. Okay, Pinkerton, people like Pinkerton, even though it is super uncomfortably personal. Like, even more uncomfortably personal than Monomania is. Like, I don't need to know about most of the things River is singing about on Pinkerton. But it's still a great album, and pretty much everyone who likes Weezer agrees that it's a great album. And there's also people who don't like Weezer, which is reasonable, because Weezer suck. But Pinkerton is good, and that's why I use that comparison. Great. Monomania is great. You need to listen to it right now. Anchorite is the best Car Seat Headrest song, because either that or Souls. And both of them are on this album. You just need to listen to this album. Listen to this album 10 out of 10! Next! Okay, I'm gonna briefly touch on Living While Starving. This video doesn't need to be that much longer. But Living While Starving is an EP that will release in 2012, and I think literally every song except Devil Moon on it is a 10 out of 10. So, in August 2013, Will released Nervous Young Man, which people call a compilation album, even though it is not a compilation album in pretty much any way. To my knowledge, Will re-recorded all of the songs that were old for this album, thus making it an actual album, which it is. Like, I can get why you would think it's a compilation album. Point is, Nervous Young Man is a studio album. Please view it as such, because it is also a 10 out of 10. This point in Will's discography is just a massive 10 out of 10 stretch. Like, this is my favorite run in any discography ever. It is 2 hours long. It's 20 songs. It's a really long sit. And the first song is, I'm pretty sure, the longest Car Seat Headrest song ever made. Actually, I think the original version of the Gun song is longer, but the version on streaming is like a minute shorter than the one on Bandcamp. I think it's because he had to remove the Neil Young sample or like put it in reverse or something. I don't remember. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna talk about the album now. So the opener, Boxing Day, is it's a song that Will made back in the Nervous Young Men days, which is also true for a lot of the songs on here. It's true for Big Jacket, that was originally from Nervous Young Men. It's true for a Knife in the Coffee. That was originally called like Clowns in My Coffee or something, which makes way less sense. And it's probably true for like at least 2 other songs on here, I think. Point being, a lot of these songs are re-recordings of Nervous Young Men songs. Hence the title, Nervous Young Man. Some of these songs are just the best written songs in Will's discography. take, for example, the Gun song. That is easily the best written song in Will's discography, in my opinion. It's not my favorite song. I don't even think it's the best one, but it's the best written one. Oh my god, the lyrics on here. Where do I even begin? All of the lyrics. It's so good. That you love me. It's a really great song, you guys, and it's a really great album too, and you need to hear it before you die, just like almost every other Car Seat Headrest album. Point is, Nervous Young Man is excellent. It's one of Will's best albums. It is insane how tight-knit this album still is, even though it's 2 hours long and it's 20 songs, because every single song is an 8 out of 10 or higher. And every song except one is a 9 out of 10 or higher. And the one song that is only an 8 out of 10 is Crows. Crows has never really clicked with me in the way that a lot of the other songs have. But apart from that, every song on here is a 9 out of 10 or higher, and most of them are 10 out of 10, in my opinion. Which, in my book, that makes this a 10 out of 10 album. Next!
I think I'm about to be pissed!
So, if you paid $5 or more for Nervous Young Man on Bandcamp, Will would personally email you Disjected Membra, which is an album of B-sides. He will no longer do this. If you purchase Nervous Young Man for $5 or more, but he used to do this back in the day, back in 2013. I guess, and I don't know how long he kept it up, but he kept it up for like at least a week, probably. You can still find the album on YouTube, and I love it. I love Disjected Membra. It is so much better of a B-sides album than Little Pieces of Paper is, but it is still a B-sides album, so it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. I'm not going to spend that much time talking about Disjected Membra, but it's a great album, and there's a lot of amazing Car Seat Headrest songs on here, including unfinished Pain Star, and that song is gonna come back into play later, but that's not for a little bit yet, so just hold your horses. Disjected Membra is an 8.25 out of 10, I think. My voice cracked. I don't know if you could tell. Yeah, next! So, after Nervous Young Man, Will took a tiny little break in comparison with, like, all the other Car Seat Headrest, the timeline so far. I mean, he was, like, really working hard at it. He made 4 albums in 2010. He released 2 in 2011. He made, like, okay, 2012 was the busiest Car Seat Headrest year. I forgot to touch on this, but he released Monomania, he released Living While Starving, and an insane amount of singles for Nervous Young Man in 2012. Anyways, in October 2014, Will released a tiny little EP, even though it's 9 songs and literally longer than Monomania. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. How to Leave Town is the name of the EP, it's an album. It counts as an album. And, I don't know if you'll believe this, but, I think it's a 10 out of 10. Which is kind of wild, because I haven't given any other Car Seat Headrest album a 10 out of 10 so far. Fun fact, How to Leave Town is, apparently outtakes from Teens of Denial, which is the only reason I can assume that Will would release it as an EP and not as an album, because, I mean, that's the only explanation that makes sense. Like I said, it is longer than Monomania. What are you doing? The thing is, they're not, like, it's not necessarily B-sides, because I'm pretty sure the only reason these songs were cut is because they don't fit with the rest of Teens of Denial. It's not because they weren't good enough for Teens of Denial, because, oh my god, almost all of these songs are absolutely good enough for Teens of Denial. Every single song except 2 of them out of 9 is a 10 out of 10, in my opinion. And one of them is an interlude, so I don't even have a rating for that song. And the other one is, Hey Space Cadet, which, we don't, I'll talk about that in a second. Don't get mad yet. Once again, the songwriting is so tight! It's so tight! It's so tight-knit, I can squeeze it in my hand, and it just fills in all the gaps in my fingers or something. The ending of the Dramamine, the ending of Dramamine One of the best Car Seat Headrest songs. Beast Monster, Beast Monster. Beast Monster thing. One of the best Car Seat Headrest songs.
気持ち悪い
I did not say that right. But it's one of the best Car Seat Headrest songs. I-94 West, that's an interlude. I don't have a rating for it. You're in Love With Me, it's one of the best Car Seat Headrest songs. I don't even care. Come at me. Is that even an unpopular opinion? I don't know. American Never Been, one of the best Car Seat Headrest songs. I want you to know that I'm awake. One of the best Car Seat Headrest songs. And the reason I'm saying it louder for this song is because it's especially one of the best Car Seat Headrest songs. Is this just really from the Titanic? I can't say in good faith that it's one of the best Car Seat Headrest songs, but I think it's still a 10 out of 10. But other than that, yeah, this EP is great. It's awesome. It's lovely. Hear it before you die. Again, 10 out of 10. Next! You guys. Will sold out. I'm kidding. He didn't sell out. Well, he kind of did, but not in a shitty way. So in 2015, Will Toledo signed to Matador Records, home to one of my favorite bands, Interpol. And also some other bands too. Anyway, yeah, so in 2015, after he got signed, he was like, okay, I'm gonna make this album, and it's just gonna be an album composed entirely of remakes of older songs from my discography. So he formed himself a band. Car Seat Headrest is now a band at this point. And at this point in time, it consists of Will, the drummer Andrew Katz, and the bassist Jacob Bloom. And with this band, he re-records a bunch of older songs in a new studio environment. He re-records songs from Monomania. He re-records songs from 3. He re-records songs he re-records some songs from My Back Is Killing Me Baby. I don't know why it was. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. And with these re-recorded songs, he forms the album Teens of Style. And it is not as good as a lot of the Car Seat Headrest discography. I still think Teens of Style is great, but it was not received as warmly as a lot of other Car Seat Headrest albums, and I can see why. Because I honestly do not prefer a lot of the versions of these songs to their originals. It's due to one thing. The mixing is not that good.
Hey, someone on Reddit once told me that talking about mixing in music, which was something that I thought was pretty fucking simple, is apparently some nerd shit. So if you don't want to see some nerd shit, skip to this time in the video.
And not in like a lo-fi way. Like the mixing on Monomania is better than the mixing on Teens of Style. A lot of the times the drums don't feel punchy enough, or they just feel too quiet in the mix. And this is most, I guess, apparent to me on the drum, and also the remake of Los Borrachos.
So you skipped. So you skipped to the you skipped to the thing? You skipped to the time in the video? Okay. No, I see how it is. You just don't care about what I have to say. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. You're fine. Unlike me. Okay, this bit is dumb. I put spit on my face. I put spit on my face for that. That was dumb. And potentially unsafe. Don't put spit on your face. It doesn't look very realistic. And it's probably bad to get spit in your eye. I don't know. God, this has been a minute. This is a minute of the fucking video I could have spent doing anything else. Fuck you.
There are some versions that I prefer to the originals. I like the version of Strangers here a decent deal better than the version of Strangers on My Back Is Killing Me Baby. I vastly prefer this version of Something Soon to the one on My Back Is Killing Me Baby. This version of Oh Starving, I don't like as much as the one on Living While Starving, but I do like better than the one on 3. And also, Piss Teenagers Take Off Your Clo', the version of that song is a lot better on here as well. However, other than that, except for, like, maybe Sunburned Shirts, I can't find myself, preferring a lot of the songs on here to the ones that, are on their original albums. There is one new song on here, and it is Bad Role Models, which is a fantastic song. It's very short. I kind of wish it was longer, but it's really great, and it incorporates just a bunch of random elements from other older Cars 8 Headrest songs. Why did I say songs like that? I'm, like, running out of breath or something. My favorite part is the horns from Around come back in. I thought Will Toledo just, banned 4 from existence. I thought Will Toledo was just blocking 4 from his memory, but he just brings in the horns from Around on this one song, and it's great, even though I still like them better on Around. But that's okay, because the song is independent from Around. It's not just a remake of Around, it's a remake of, like, a bunch of different songs combined. Anyway, yeah, Teens' style is not as good as a lot of the other Cars 8 Headrest albums, but, I mean, it's his Matador debut. And as its own experience, if you're ignoring the fact that, the original songs are often better, I think it works really, really well to sort of serve as, like, a new debut for Car Seat Headrest. So I'm going to say 8.75 out of 10 next. Okay, so then Jacob Bloom left the band to, like, go be a doctor, I think, or something like that. And then Ethan Ives joined the band on bass. And then a little bit after that, after the album was finished being recorded, Will Toledo got Seth Dalby, who was a member of Car Seat Headrest Live in 2011. He got him to come back and play bass. And so that is the current Car Seat Headrest lineup. And that is the lineup for all Car Seat Headrest albums going forward. So Teens of Denial is absolutely amazing. I don't think it's a 10.
Not yet, you don't.
This is the album where Will Toledo fully transitions into a much cleaner indie rock sound. You can definitely tell that he is signed to a label now, or I guess it's a band. I shouldn't keep saying he. It's a band. There's multiple people in it. This is an album of all original material again. Oh, there's a hair on my microphone. This is an album of all original material again, and wow, it's great. Will Toledo had been working on this album since Nervous Young Man. Since then, he had been working on it since 2013, and there are some of the best Car Seat Headrest songs of all time on this album. The Ballad of the Costa Concordia, especially, is one of them. Vincent is super underrated. I don't know why so many people don't love it as much as I do. As is Unforgiving Girl. No one talks about Unforgiving Girl, even though it's like one of the best songs on this album. What are you doing? Will Toledo's songwriting on here feels very slightly less personal, but it is still very personal. It does feel very much, like he is, talking about his experiences in adult life. I mean, because a lot of the other albums were, about, teenage heartbreak in a way. I mean, he wasn't, necessarily that much of a teenager anymore. He was like 18, 19, and 20 when he wrote all the teenage heartbreak albums. But I mean, like, he was still basically a teenager, but now he's not a teenager anymore, and he's an adult, and he doesn't like it, and that's pretty much what the album is about. The only thing keeping this album from being a 10 for me is Drugs with Friends, which people are going to punch me for, but I honestly just do not care for this song as much as I do the other songs on this album. I don't like it as much as the other ones. They're not, it's just not as satisfying of a song in the progression that it makes. But otherwise, this album is basically perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a
10 out of 10.
Like Twin Fantasy, where like I can't really say that much about it that people haven't already said. And then Will Toledo decided to remake Twin Fantasy. Just the whole album. Now, Twin Fantasy Face to Face is basically Twin Fantasy Mirror to Mirror with the production styling more akin to Teens of Denial, and also with a few lyrical and musical changes. The most different song on here is pretty easily Famous Prophets. The title is even different. On Mirror to Mirror, it's Famous Prophets Minds, and on here it's Famous Prophets Stars. And on Famous Prophets Stars, there's an entire new section added. And yeah, it's from Disjecta Membra, which I talked about earlier. Except I actually didn't realize that I forgot to talk about Disjecta Membra earlier, so I have to record my talking about Disjecta Membra after I get finished talking about Face to Face. But you don't even know that even, so don't pretend you do. Anyway, yeah, I don't have that much to say about Face to Face that I haven't really already said about Mirror to Mirror. But I mean, it's a lot less lo-fi. And it feels like a more mature album for sure. It's kind of a look back on Mirror to Mirror. Yeah, I think it's also a 10 out of 10. I think you also need to hear it before you die, but, just pick where to start depending on, the sort of production styling you would like better, I guess. So yeah, 10 out of 10 next. Okay, we have finally come to the end of our journey. The latest Car Seat Headrest album we are talking about now, Making a Door Less Open, was released in May 2020. I do not care for this album very much. It's good. It's a good album.
Mid. Go back to the video.
But a lot of the songs, there's a big problem with Making a Door Less Open. It doesn't feel nearly as fully realized as Teens of Denial, Face to Face, just basically any other Car Seat Headrest album since, like, Little Pieces of Paper. A lot of these songs feel super underwritten and super rushed, which is wild because this album was made in the span of, like, 4 years. You had 4 years to make this album, and you have songs like Martin, which you don't feel like they're about anything. You have songs like There Must Be More Than Blood, which is just one chord the entire way through. And, like, I like both of those songs, but they don't really do anything that is that interesting. With this album, it's either the music's great, but the songwriting's kind of bland, or the songwriting's great, but the music's kind of bland. And there's almost never an in-between. There is not one single song on this album that I think genuinely, honestly, lives up to anything from the rest of the Matador era besides Change of Style. It feels rushed, which makes no sense, because it was made in the span of 4 years, and it sounds rushed. And they do go for a new sound on this album. They're not making indie rock anymore, pretty much at all. It is mostly, it's a lot more EDM influenced, which is it's cool. It's a cool idea. I think it could have worked out pretty well, and it does work out pretty well on some of these songs, like Him Remix. A lot of people don't like that song, but I love that song. I think it's where the sort of melding of the Car Seat Headrest song sound with like EDM and electronic works the best. I think the opener Weightlifters, I think it works really well on that song. I don't think it really. I think the live version of Can't Cool Me Down is incredible. It's way better than the studio version, but I still love the studio version. The studio version's great too. And Hollywood, Making a Door Less Open is just not a great album. It's a huge disappointment after Teens of Denial and Twin Fantasy Face to Face. And I really hope they can do better on the next album. I like this album. I think it's pretty good, but like I said, it just feels like rushed. It feels underwritten in points, and yeah, it just should have been better. I'm gonna say 7.25 out of 10 probably.
It's actually a 6.0. So I was wrong.
So I'm finally done talking about Car Seat Headrest. It was a pretty long ride. I had to split it into 2 parts, which I didn't even anticipate when I sat down to record the first part. And what I also didn't anticipate was it taking 3 months to edit this video. Sorry about that. It's been a little bit since part 1 came out. It's the new year. It is the new year. It's in fact 3 months into the new year, and people have stopped talking about how it's the new year because everyone knows it's the new year already, and I haven't made any videos since it's been the new year. Anyway, thank you for watching this. This video is kind of long for what I usually do, and I had a lot of fun making it, but also I don't have any faith that anyone's going to be watching it. My subscriber count has been kind of plummeting, and part 1 didn't get a lot of views, so I have no reason to believe that this video is going to be any different, but I had fun making it. I hope you had fun watching it, and yeah, I hope that you'll be there whenever I make the next video, whether it be 3 months from now, or 5 months from now, or 8 months from now, or whatever. I hope that you'll be there, is all. Anyways, stepside.com for all your merch needs, and I will see you in the next video. And also remember to stay hydrated. Hydrate.